figures revealed today show the alarming scale of child sex abuse church in Australia.
Welcome to the JW Untold Truth again. This time we're going to see an amazing topic. This is a huge topic. It's the Australian Royal Commission. Highlights of every single day, the most, the most amazing, the most crazy statements from the Australian Royal Commission. But let's start from the beginning. Let's start from 2012, November. This is where the former Gillard minister proposed a royal commission into institutional responses on child sexual abuse. And let's roll the first clip and see how everything started from.
I have just visited the Governor-General, and the Governor-General has agreed to my request to establish a royal commission into institutional responses to child sexual abuse in Australia. In November, I announced the government's intention to have such a royal commission. Since that announcement in November, we've been involved in a process of consultation about the terms of reference, and Minister Macklin will detail some of the consultations that have been gone through. In addition, I had the opportunity to speak directly to my state and territory colleagues about collaborating on this at the Council of Australian Governments meeting towards the end of last year. Following those consultations and discussions, today we can announce the establishment of the Royal Commission. I believe our nation needs to have this Royal Commission. Child sexual abuse is a hideous, shocking and vile crime, and it is clear from what is already in the public domain that too many children were the subject of child sexual abuse in institutions, that they've had to live with the trauma of that child sexual abuse for the rest of their lives, that they weren't provided with a safe childhood and a safe place to be, and that too many adults who could have assisted them turned a blind eye so that they didn't get the help that they needed. The Royal Commission will provide us with recommendations about what we can do better for the future. The Royal Commission will be recommending to us what we can do to better keep children safe in institutional contexts, what we can do to ensure that child abuse is reported and responded to, what we can do to clear away any impediments to the reporting of child abuse. I believe our nation needs to learn these lessons and act on them for the future. In addition, our nation needs to send a very clear message to those who have survived child sexual abuse. For too many, the trauma of that abuse has been compounded by the sense that they have had that their nation doesn't understand or doesn't care about what they've suffered. To those survivors of child sexual abuse today, we are able to say, we want your voices to be heard. Even if you've felt for all of your life that no one's listened to you, that no one has taken you seriously, that no one has really cared, the Royal Commission is an opportunity for your voice to be heard. And in acknowledging that we need to hear those voices, I hope we can provide some measure of comfort to survivors of child sexual abuse. And I hope in having the opportunity to tell their story, they will find some opportunity for healing. I do want to be clear about what the Royal Commission will do and what it won't do. The Royal Commission is into child sexual abuse and related matters. The Royal Commission is into child sexual abuse and related matters in institutional contexts. It will not deal with child sexual abuse in the family. It also will not deal with abuse of children, which is not associated with child sexual abuse. We have consulted and we've made some choices so that the Royal Commission can focus on child sexual abuse and provide advice and recommendations to government in as timely a way as possible. The Commission will prepare an interim report by no later than the 30th of June 2014 so that governments and organisations can start taking action on the Commission's early findings and recommendations. In the interim report, the Commissioners will also identify when their final report will be completed. The terms of reference do set an end date for the Royal Commission of the 31st of December 2015, but that end date can be extended if necessary. Today is the day that we start to create a future where people who perpetrate child sexual abuse cannot hide in institutions, where we work together to find a better way of keeping our children.
As we can see in the video, it wasn't just the Jehovah's Witnesses that it was targeted to. It was for all institutionals to see how they responded and what measures they had regarding the child sex abuse. So we just saw the response, and we're not going to go through all the cases because there were 57 different institutionals that were actually tested for this. So we're just going to go through them very quickly so we can see that they are not just the Jehovah's Witnesses. There were 57 different institutionals. So we can just go through them very quickly here. We go through the case number 1, we got 2, 3, 4. And then it goes up to case 29, the Jehovah's Witnesses. This is the public hearing examining the response of the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Watchtower Bible Tract Society of Australia and the allegations of child sexual abuse. So every single one of these organizations were tested. So not like all the Jehovah's Witnesses that they say it was just against the Jehovah's Witnesses. No, it was not just towards the Jehovah's Witnesses. It was most of the institutional services within Australia. But obviously we're here to look at the case 29, the Jehovah's Witnesses organization. So here we have 6 commissioners. These 6 commissioners were appointed by the Australian Royal Commission to investigate every single organization. Peter McClellan was appointed for the Jehovah's Witnesses. What sort of experience that this Justice Peter have? Well, let's have a look. The Commissions and Inquiries. 1984, the British Nuclear Testing in Australia Inquiry. 1988, the Swimming Pool Safety Inquiry. 1992, the Corruption Inquiry. 1997, the Sydney Casino License Inquiry. 1998, the Sydney Water Inquiry. 2008, the Chair, the New South Wales Trial Efficiency Working Group. And 2005, the member of the Judicial Commission. So we got a timetable here. November 2012, Australian Royal Commission was announced. The next step was March 2013, the Royal Commission Act amended. In March, the Royal Commission Act 1902 was amended to allow for private sessions. The first private session was held on the 7th of May 2013 in Sydney. 2014, case studies. So public hearings commenced. The first public hearing was held at the County Court of Victoria. Since then, 57 public hearings were conducted. So we're gonna see the first highlight, and let's roll the first clip.
That the current policies of the Jehovah's Witness Church for dealing with an accusation of child sexual abuse are outlined in the following 4 publications. Firstly, the Bible. The English edition is the New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures. Secondly, the Elders' Handbook. Thirdly, Watchtower Society publications, such as Organized to Do Jehovah's Will. And fourthly, letters sent to all bodies of elders. In particular, a letter dated 1 October 2012, which consolidated and replaced into one letter the spiritual advice and guidance provided in various past letters from preceding years as to how Jehovah's Witnesses handle allegations of child sexual abuse. Jehovah's Witnesses are taught from the Bible that they have a personal responsibility to report wrongdoing to elders. If the wrongdoer does not voluntarily come forward, upon receipt of an allegation, elders are directed to immediately call the branch office for direction based on the circumstances of each case. 2 elders from the congregation are also directed to immediately call the legal department for legal advice on mandatory reporting obligations. The legal department is instructed to refer the elders to the service department for scriptural direction on theocratic or judicial aspects of the case and how to spiritually comfort and support the victim. 2 elders are directed to investigate every allegation of child sexual abuse by speaking with the victim, the alleged offender, and any other witnesses if necessary. The weight given to the testimony of youths is at the discretion of the investigating elders. Elders are not authorized to take congregational action unless the child sexual abuse is proven according to biblical standards, which are satisfied by evidence of a confession from the accused or the testimony of 2 credible witnesses to the same incident, or the testimony of 2 witnesses to separate incidents of the same kind of wrongdoing, or strong circumstantial evidence testified to by at least 2 witnesses. Whereby those rules, there is insufficient evidence to substantiate the alleged child sexual abuse, the matter is held in abeyance, and the elders are directed to, quote, remain vigilant with regard to the conduct and activity of the accused. In this event, no further action is taken in relation to the complaint, and the matter is left in Jehovah's hands. The Royal Commission will hear that over the past 65 years, the requirement that there be 2 or more witnesses has prevented at least 125 allegations of child sexual abuse from proceeding to a judicial committee. That is not unexpected, given that by its nature, there are very seldom witnesses to child sexual abuse beyond the survivor and the perpetrator. The Royal Commission will hear that since 1950, 401 alleged perpetrators of child sexual abuse were disfellowshipped, 78 of whom were disfellowshipped on more than one occasion, and 190 alleged perpetrators of child sexual abuse were approved, 11 of whom were approved on more than one occasion. Since 1950, of 401 disfellowshipped alleged perpetrators of child sexual abuse, 230 were later reinstated, 35 of whom were reinstated on more than one occasion. Evidence will be put before the Royal Commission that of the 1,006 alleged perpetrators of child sexual abuse identified by the Jehovah's Witness Church since 1950, not one was reported by the Church to secular authorities. This suggests that it is the practice of the Jehovah's Witness Church to retain information regarding child sexual abuse offences, but not to report allegations of child sexual abuse to the police or other relevant authorities. It is anticipated that documents will be tendered before the Royal Commission which will show that the Australia Branch Office have considered that confessional privilege would apply in circumstances where the perpetrator confessed to a child sexual abuse. There are approximately 7,000 elders and ministerial servants currently serving in Jehovah's Witnesses congregations in Australia who have obtained child-related police checks. Documents will be tendered at the hearing which show that elders are instructed to allow considerable time to pass before extending privileges of service to a former child abuser. Since 1950, 28 alleged perpetrators of child sexual abuse were appointed to positions of authority after having been the subject of allegations of child sexual abuse. Further, of 127 alleged perpetrators of child sexual abuse deleted as elders or ministerial servants as a result of allegations of child sexual abuse, 16 were later reappointed. The Royal Commission has been contacted by 57 persons about child sexual abuse in the Jehovah's Witness Church. Of these, 34 are themselves survivors of child sexual abuse in the church. The Royal Commission will hear evidence from 2 women, each of whom was sexually abused as a child in the Jehovah's Witness Church. Their cases are considered to be the most appropriate for the purposes of this case study. They are expected to testify about their experiences of growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, being sexually abused by Jehovah's Witnesses who were in positions of authority, being discouraged from associating with non-Jehovah's Witnesses, the distress they experienced throughout the Judicial Committee hearing process, which involves being interviewed by a panel of males without any support, the blame that each accused sought to place on them as survivors, the absence of an explained purpose to the meetings and interviews to which they were subjected, and being discouraged from approaching authorities. The Royal Commission will hear from both survivors that the impact of the child sexual abuse and the response of the Jehovah's Witness Church is ongoing. Watchtower Australia does not hold any insurance policy which provides cover for any claims relating to child sexual abuse.